This is Nanjing Road. For over a century now, it has been the most famous shopping street in all of China. But in 1949, this road had a not-so-glamorous side. Despite being a bustling street, Nanjing Road was in a bad condition. The street hadn't been repaired for years. Under the pressure of the tall buildings on both sides, the street was sinking each year. After each heavy rain, the street would be completely paralyzed and turned into a stinking sewage pond. On 24 July 1949, 2 months after the communist takeover, Typhoon Gloria hit Shanghai unexpectedly. The entire low-lying part of the city was flooded. Nanjing Road was among the most seriously hit. After the natural disaster, the new government of Shanghai decided to repair the road, a problem which had remained for 20 years. When the news was out, Western residents raised their doubts. As the North China Daily News observed, nationalists never repaired the greater part of the street dilapidations left over from the time of the puppet administrations during the war, with the result that holes which then began to form have assumed large dimensions. With the many immediate tasks confronting the authorities, some people agreed that problems like road repair might conceivably be deferred for later consideration. Above all was the doubt that the new government was capable of managing Shanghai. These doubts can best be summarized by the words of an American consulate employee who was interviewed years later. He said, "Here is Shanghai, one of the world's largest cities, a very complex city. How was it going to be run by these people who had come out of caves in northwest China?" The doubts reflected its times. It also reflected the harsh reality facing Shanghai at the time. Shanghai was still in great danger from nationalist air raids and a blockade. An American doctor living in Shanghai at the time wrote to his family, describing the effect of the air raids on city life. "We continue to live in stirring and disturbing times. We live in a city which at one moment may be peaceful, and the next may be physically and psychologically in utter confusion. Under those circumstances, road repairs seemed like a trivial matter and should be postponed." But to everyone's surprise, by the end of November, the repair work was completed. According to the North China Daily News, the major downtown project was unprecedented in magnitude for many years. Pedestrians, busmen, transportation company employees, as well as pedicab men, and commercial firms on both sides of the street voiced enthusiasm on the completion of the project. Besides the speed, another significant feature of that project is that domestic instead of imported building materials were used. The newly paved street surface was built with cosmetic cement, which would have a longer durability than imported asphalt. The road repair was one of many achievements of the new government in the first few months after they took over control of Shanghai. It was precisely the attention to details and the people-oriented vision that helped the communists win the hearts and minds of the Chinese people. New York Times journalist Walter Sullivan sent out his observation. Despite last spring's predictions of a crisis by wishful thinkers from the West, the Chinese communists have won the first round of their battle in Shanghai. The new Shanghai was born. No one at the time could imagine what the city would look like more than 70 years later. In 2019, part of Nanjing Road was closed by the city government. This time not for repairs, but for renovation. the city broadened and extended Nanjing Road walkway to increase business activities and to allow more pedestrian traffic. Now it leads directly to and has a clearer view of the most iconic symbol of the new Shanghai.